Hello and welcome everyone at a new episode of the Pure Gospel on the Flat Earth. This episode will be about spiritual slavery versus spiritual freedom. In the previous episode we talked about why people defend proven lies, and there we pointed at Romans 1 verse 18, Romans 1 verse 28, Titus 1 verse 15, which deals with people giving in to corruption and as a result having their minds and their consciences being corrupted. And we talked about 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 9 up to 12, where we can read that God will give people over to a strong delusion who suppress the truth and unrighteousness. So obviously we don't want this to happen, but we have to discuss a question which has to do with this, namely, why is it that people at a certain moment become unreasonable, why they are not susceptible to reason anymore. So that is what we will talk about today, and this has to do with a spiritual warfare which is described in the Bible, and the forces of this world which govern the world, and the devil is behind it all. So that is what we will discuss. Humanists want to suggest that this is all superstitious, it's not true, and that we should chase our own desires, that we are the standard of everything. Basically they will deny everything that I say about this. They will say that Christ and God will lead us into slavery, and that only if we follow our heart and our own desires, then we will be set free. So today I will show that this is not correct. I will point it out. So if one rejects the call from the Most High, then this will inevitably lead that he will chase after something that this world has to offer. The world's desires and all kinds of distractions. He will be distracted and getting obsessed by anything that this world has to offer, and kind of getting enslaved and trapped by this. That is exactly how the evil one works.
You might say, I don't believe in God, but the Bible says not possible. See, everyone has a God, whether or not it's the God of the gospel. You might not believe in God, but everyone has that one thing that's king. Even the dictionary defines God as whatever we make supreme, because it's a theme, it's a thread. You see it inside all human beings, the fact that we all worship. And no, it's not just about singing. Now I know you like, Jeff, I don't worship. I put that on the shelf, but I say technically we all worship. We just worship ourselves. See, we all worship something. To an object, we're all liable. Ladies, to some, your boyfriend is your God, and Cosmo is your Bible. Yet, we mock and we laugh at the Israelites' golden calf, but we do the same thing right back. It just looks a little different than that. So, question, what's on your throne? See, what do you chase so that you don't feel alone? See, what defines you? What do you give ultimate worth? And what, if taken, would bring ultimate hurt? Now, see, that is your God. And all of us, we've sacrificed deep joy for shallow happiness. To be honest, we look like fools. We're like full-grown adults in the kiddie pool going, oh my goodness, guys, this is like so cool. Because we're slaves to our possessions. We're always craving something new. Reality check. If you can't give it up, you don't own it. It owns you. And that's why the Bible, it says we're spiritual prostitutes. In fact, it even says we're worse, because at least prostitutes get paid for their works. All we get paid is a hearse. And that's why worship, it's not just behavior. It goes way into our core. So ask, what is your God? What do you bow down before? For example, some of us, we don't worship God, but we worship what He said. We got theology in our head, but in our hearts, poor, pitiful, naked, and dead. Or some of us worship in stadiums, or some of us worship in bars. Some of us worship our possessions while some of us worship our cars. See, some of us worship science while some of us worship the arts, but I don't care what clothes your idol's wearing, the disease is the heart. Or my favorite is those guys who say, Jeff, I'm a man because I'm in control. Okay, then tell me why can't you stop having sex with your hand while staring at your MacBook Pro? Or what about those guys who trade their wives for their jobs at work, give more time to their boss than their actual wives' needs or hurts? And ladies, no guy can love you more than Jesus already has, so stop putting your worth in Magic Mike. He's so much better than that. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Jeff, are you saying that we should hate money, hate alcohol, and never have sex? No, but I'm saying God created those all to be enjoyed in their proper context. But I want to transition. I want to make a spiritual incision. Can we really say these things are the ultimate purpose of living? I mean, instead of worshiping the creator of you and I, we've all said, screw you, God, I'll take your stuff, but you can die. But that trade is terrible, trading God for man. It's like God offers us water, and we say, but God, this is such good sand. Or my friends, they'll say, Jeff, a God that requires me to give up something I just can't fathom, yet most of us seem fine giving up everything for a quick orgasm. I mean, am I the only one who's felt the gnawing within? Am I the only one who's felt the weight of my own sin?
That atheistic humanism is nonsense is also pointed out by Frank Turek in a debate that he had with David Silverman.
If our minds evolved by an unguided process, our brains evolved from an unguided process, Darwin realized the problem. Here was his doubt. He said, with me, the horrid doubt always arises whether the convictions of man's mind, which has been developed from the mind of lower animals, are of any value or at all trustworthy. Would anyone trust in the convictions of a monkey's mind if there are any convictions in such a mind? Why should you believe your mind or your brain if we evolve with unguided processes? And if we're just molecules in motion, we shouldn't believe anything we think. See, atheism cannot explain our ability to reason. Theism can. Here's why. If atheism is true, our minds are just molecular machines, which means we don't have free will, which means we don't reason, we merely react. Therefore, we shouldn't trust any of our thoughts, including the thought that atheism is true. So atheists are fond of calling themselves free thinkers. The problem is there's no freedom and there's no thinking going on, because you don't have free will and you can't really think, or you can't justify thinking, because we're just molecules in motion.
Humanism is not only nonsensical, it is very dangerous, because humanists want to suggest that the people who believe in the existence of God and the existence of the devil are kind of superstitious, whereas in fact the devil wants us not to believe in him, because he's actually the one pulling the strings when people give in to their own desires, because the devil is appealing to them, just as he did in the case with Eve, and that he talked to Eve and that he promised her that she would become as God and she would certainly not die if she would eat from the forbidden fruit, and we all know what happened next. So the exact opposite, and that is actually what is going on. The idea of the evil one and his minions is that he wants to promote and appeal to the desires of this world, so that people will chase after them, and then they will ultimately fall for his lies, and that is how he has them trapped. And we read about this in various Bible passages. For instance, in Ephesians 6 verse 12, where we read that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. So kind of the representatives of this world and everything that this world has to offer. Well, the devil wants to blind the minds and hearts of the unbelievers. He's the one at work in them. Because if people give in to the desires of this world, they will become obsessed by them and kind of enslaved by them. And that is how the evil one is able to take over. These desires and distractions ultimately will become idols. We should not worship idols, we should not worship our heart's desires, but we should worship the creator of heaven and earth, we should follow his plan, his blueprint for life, and his restoration plan. He wants everything to be restored. So that is what we also want for our viewers, that you will be set free. We read in 1 John 2 verse 15 up to 17, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever." What this passage tells you is that we cannot love both the world and the Most High. We cannot love both God and money. We cannot love sin and the Most High. And if we love the things that this world has to offer, then we are basically idolizing these kind of stuff. And God does not want us to chase after idols because there are demons behind them. He does not want us to be trapped by them and to ultimately enslaved and destroyed, because that is what will happen with everyone who will chase after that. God and His Son want us to be free. We read about this in 1 John 8 verse 31 and 32. If we follow Christ, the only mediator between God and man, the Messiah who taught us to live in a free way, in a way that offers peace, freedom and harmony, the Most High and with men, that is being taught by Christ. So we will read that specific verse right now. "To the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, 'If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.'" That is what Christ wants to do. If we submit to Him, if we're humble, if we deny ourselves and worldly desires in favor of Christ, then He will be able to set us free. If we really go for Him, He will give us His mindset so that we can level with Him. We will get the restoration mindset which offers harmony, and He will guide us also in the future kingdom, which is the good news provided in the Bible. So that is what we want for you as our viewers. We want you to be set free. We don't want you to be trapped by all kinds of nonsensical desires and distractions. So please focus on Christ. There you have it for today. Thank you all for watching. By the way, if you have any questions or whatever you want contact, please feel free to drop something in the comment box. You can also contact me via email. And we hope to see you in the next episode of the Pure Gospel on the Flat Earth.